All right, here's something that we need to think about here. Throughout all of our lives, we've just outsourced the building of AI to others, and we just expected whoever to build AI, the government, the corporations, or whoever. But we never thought of like, gee, you know, maybe we should be the ones that create the AI, because if the corporations and the government make the AI, obviously it's not going to be in our favor. And I don't know how no one's thought of this, like, gee, you know, we probably shouldn't rely on them. We should probably create our own. Now, a lot of you are thinking, wow, we're working on the blockchain technology with smart contracts and stuff like that. Isn't that kind of like AI? Okay, yeah, that's something good. Are you? Hopefully you're doing it with goodness in your heart, because I encountered some maniac social justice warriors that they told me that they're creating blockchain technology to be intentionally racist towards white people. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not racist. Okay. And so you got those people working on AI and blockchain. You might want to think about, we probably should make our own AI to combat it. Kind of like Tony Stark with Ultron. He had to make something to combat Ultron, right? Yeah, I think we need to make our own AI. There's a kind of guy out there that is so beyond conspiracy theory that conspiracy theory is nothing to them. They are scientists, not the fake trust the science kind of people, but guys that had a way to find out that the biggest conspiracy of being alive is not the governments and the corporations and the evil that men do, but the mystery of the way the universe, or at least nature, works. And not in some glamorous, like, oh, be at one with nature, I love nature, look at God's glory, it's so beautiful. No. I'm talking like the guys that saw it, they're not wizards, right? But they realize, this whole existence is kind of like a riddle. It's an IQ test, and we need to test the physics engine, figure out how this whole thing works. But also each time we make one discovery, suddenly we realize that there is a need now for 5 new discoveries. And yes, most of it was already discovered long ago. And that's what some of them are trying to uncover, the knowledge that was once beholden by previous civilizations that knew how the electromagnetics worked. They might have not called it electromagnetics. They might not even called it the ether. They might not even called it anything at all, and they just knew how to harness these powers. Because if you think about it, the electromagnetic spectrum was not invented. Most of us think it was like electricity was not invented. The electromagnetic spectrum was not invented. These things always existed. Magnetism always existed. It was just we discovered these things. But all of the forces have always been here. No duh. But when you say it like that, you start to think, like something clicks, you're like, yeah. Because as the saying goes, what we consider magic is someone else's science, or what we consider science is someone else's magic. There's a lot of magic to be had. Think of like an antenna. An antenna is a magic wand. And there's all different types of magic wands. There's bipolar antennas, dipole antennas, omnidirectional antennas, directional antennas, Yagi antennas, all these. And all these antennas, they do different things as they propagate the waves and the frequencies and all that good stuff. So I hope by saying all this, it ignites something in your mind where you suddenly realize, yeah, I've been wasting my time with these man-made conspiracies. The greatest conspiracy is, what is this game? But not just to philosophize about it and what is matter and what is, but to actually go out there and experiment and discover, and constantly finding so many things that when constantly find these scientific discoveries that you start to say, like when you look at the patterns, the spiral, the golden spiral, and the fractals, and all these kind of things that are just like, wow, that's so programmed. And the way the math works for a lot of things. And even if you say, well, the math part is just numbers, it's like, yeah, but it actually works. And you could actually create artificial realities with the math. You could build buildings with the geometries. Now the counter to that was in my, I think it was 8th grade algebra, no, 8th grade geometry, the teacher was saying, you kids really need to learn geometry, because what happens if you buy furniture and you don't measure correctly? then it's no good. And this one kid raised his hand. He goes, "Oh, that's not true, Miss Adams. All you got to do is break out the old rusty chainsaw." But that's the concept. That's kind of where I'm getting at now is, all right, the conspiracies were fun, but the greatest conspiracy of them all is this ant colony that we're in. I also wanted to advertise Ants Canada. Go to the Ants Canada YouTube channel and just watch their most viewed videos. And as you watch it, do it from a FE perspective. So everything the ant keeper says on how he observes the behavior and the life of the ants, imagine that we are the ants and he is God or the architect or the innkeeper of this ant colony that we're in, and you'll start to say, wow. Also, there's this guy, he is trying to get to Hyperborea near the North Pole. He's traveling through Canada. I don't know why he started at the southern border of Canada. Why didn't he just fly all the way north? But he's walking in the snow, skiing in the snow through all of Saskatchewan right now, and he's trying to get all the way to the most northern tip to then, I don't know how he's going to go over the water, but he's trying to find the biblical Hyperborea. If I remember, I'll put a link. There's some guy doing his Instagram. I don't know how he's going to keep transmitting. I don't know how far his cell signal, or if you're in the middle of the snow with no, anyway, wish him luck. If you want to follow him, find him, see if I put a link below. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Hey, I just want to bring to everybody's attention and check out this episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan Podcast. It's episode 1780. The guy's name is Maajid Nawaz. If you're into the 1984 terms, the manipulation, deconstruction, the perception, manufacturing perception, modifying perception, controlling perception, the techniques that the media uses, techniques that governments use, techniques that dictators use, all basically the 1984 doublethink and a bunch of other concepts. Just check it out. See if it's for you. Go to like the 1 hour and 47 mark to the 1 hour 52 mark just to see if that's hitting hard enough for you. Some of the stuff they're talking about on the episode, it's like, wow. Usually this kind of stuff gets your channel taken down. So it's that kind of an episode. If you're not subbed to my Red Pill Film channel, Film Knowledge channel, check it out. I did a video on Severance. I just want to advertise it here as well. There's a show called Severance. It's on Apple Plus. It's a really good show. It's kind of like Westworld, kind of like The Matrix, kind of like The Office, kind of like Total Recall. So just look it up, check out the trailer, see if it's for you. Chances are I think you're going to be into it. Question reality, is reality real? All that good stuff. Memories, controlling memories, things like that. Also, PragerU did a good video recently. It's called How the Left Sees the World, Power, Race, and Class. Now, if you do end up watching this video, ignore the Israel part because I know people have different opinions on that, but the concepts of the three pillars of, you'll see what I'm saying. Just focus on the three concepts that Prager provides, and it'll help give you a wider understanding of things. Actually, it's not so much an understanding. You already have the understanding. It's more of just a way to spell it out and to explain it to others.